Hey everybody, welcome. It's Tech Tuesday. Today I'm going to be talking about consumer video trends. I'll be right back. Thanks for joining me. I'm Rick Usey with Zecorum, and again today I'm going to be talking about consumer video trends. A couple of weeks ago I did a broadcast about broadband trends. It was a survey that Consumer Reports had done on what consumers thought about their broadband service and several other parameters. So today I'm looking at a survey by TiVo, and if you're not familiar with TiVo, probably everybody is. I know I had a TiVo after that, in that period between VCRs and then everybody having a DVR in their cable set-top box. So a TiVo was a wonderful thing. And these guys are still out there providing services, different kinds of services. So they did this survey, and let's see here. So this was Q2 2021, so very recent. And as you can see here, they surveyed 4,500 people in the US and Canada, 18 and older. It says perspectives and feedback from viewers to give video service providers and industry stakeholders insights for improving and enhancing the overall TV viewing experience for consumers. They say they've compiled opinions about subscription video on demand, transactional video on demand, and advertising-based video on demand, AVOD, providers, emerging technologies, connected devices, over-the-top TV, apps and content, discovery features, including personalized recommendations and search. So subscription video on demand, that would be like Netflix, Amazon Prime. Transactional video on demand, that's where you pay per, as opposed to Netflix where you're paying a monthly subscription and download whatever you want, watch whatever you want. That would be where you're actually paying per content that you consume. Advertising-based video on demand obviously speaks for itself, somewhat advertising-based, although there are different types of that now, and I think they're a little bit loose in how they define AVOD here in this particular survey, which I'll talk about. And of course, over the top, all these things pretty much are over the top unless you're getting this through your service provider itself. So let's see what they have to say here. So video prospers when times get tough. Demand for video quality entertainment skyrockets. And we've certainly seen that during the pandemic as people have been locked away. I've talked about this before, where they're consuming more video. That has been good for these over-the-top video providers. It's been a challenge for your broadband providers as they've had to increase their the amount of bandwidth that they have, and people obviously using more at all times during the day. But in addition to doing work from home, their entertainment being locked away and having less choices as they went out, that went up. Although we're seeing that obviously lockdowns much more rare these days, but I think a lot of those habits have stayed. Average number of services per respondent they're showing here has gone up to 8.8, but I think they're being a little loose in that as well. A lot of times you hear, if you think about a paid subscription, I think that's what I usually think of when I'm counting this particular metric, because that's telling you if they have, let's say if they've got a pay TV provider, then how many over-the-top subscriptions are they paying for, or if they don't have a pay TV provider, how many are they paying for. This includes free kinds of content as well. They've got it categorized by age and then by income level here you see as well. So there's some interesting data in here. AVOD via YouTube is ubiquitous in top video service bundles. So here's where I'm saying they're being a little bit loose on this. I don't consider necessarily YouTube short form videos that we all kind of watch, I don't consider that so much advertising based or supported video on demand. Obviously it is supported by advertising. When you watch that YouTube video, if that video is monetized, then ads will come up. Depending on when you watch this, you will probably see ads come up because our channel is monetized. But it's not like, that's a short form video generally. I don't see that like other ad supported video like Tubi TV, those kinds of things that are more providing video content that you might find on your regular TV kinds of channels and maybe even some of the streaming channels. So YouTube and Facebook video, for example, I see those a little bit different, but they include them in this, which would be, I think it throws these numbers off probably a little bit. But we see we've got here, again, for the pay TV subscribers, the top is short videos on YouTube and Netflix. Well, if you took out YouTube, then Netflix would probably be at the top, because the next thing you've got is short videos on YouTube and then Prime Video. So kind of remove YouTube, you're going to have probably Netflix on top and Amazon after that. Then you've got a combination of Netflix and Prime, and YouTube, Netflix, and Prime. So it also probably depended on how people answer the question. You can see they've got that for top bundles of 3 services and 4 services, and it's pretty similar. Netflix, YouTube, Netflix, Prime, YouTube, Netflix, Prime, and then rentals. And then you've got, coming in here on this side, you've got Disney Plus and Hulu coming in as people add more of these services. SVOD, that's subscription video on demand, churn double that of pay TV. And that's because pay TV tends to be something where you have it. It's kind of hard to cut it off. You've got a lot of times a set-top box. You've got a guide there with lots of channels, so you maybe hold on to that. So people that haven't cut the cord yet, there's some churn there. But on SVOD, Netflix, Amazon Prime, and whatnot, there's no term commitment. So basically, it's month to month, and people can switch. And as we'll see later, well, actually, as we see here on this slide, you can see why people are switching. So this is not surprising. It says 73% cited price as far as canceling their pay TV service, and this we know that pay TV prices have been going up and up and up. And for a while there, the prices of streaming services and virtual MVPDs like YouTube TV and Hulu, those prices were low. Those have since climbed, $15, $20, as those have done a price increase since their initial launch. So people are starting to see the prices of those things get closer, but they're still cutting the cord on their pay TV because of the price, and because they're sometimes not as flexible, and because of things like a term. So the term will come up, and it might be that they would keep, who knows, I mean, I know I would consider this, it might be that they would keep their pay TV service if they got to the end of that term and they said, and the person said, you know what, you can just keep paying month to month, rather than that person having to make a commitment saying, okay, I'm going to sign up for another year at this price, because things are changing so fast. I bet they could keep more customers, but that's one of the reasons I think people cancel, is because the term comes up and there's so many other choices out there, they decide to cut the cord. 19% noted canceling at least one video subscription due to their COVID-19 situation, which I thought was pretty interesting, because a lot of people actually were adding subscriptions during that period, so that surprised me. You can see here why people cancel. Again, price too expensive on pay TV, and I switched to streaming video services. And they could answer more than one of these things, so obviously this 73% and 30% encompasses both of those answers there. They may have canceled due to price and then switched to a streaming service to be able to get some content, and it was cheaper. Why they canceled SVOD. The service raised its prices. Again, some of them were doing that. Might have gone from $5 to $10, $10 to $15. Wasn't worth the amount we were paying for it. That, again, they could answer more than one thing, so those two could be combined. Needed to tighten my budget. And some of this with the pandemic, COVID-19, may have had to do with people losing their jobs and suddenly having to drop some services. In some cases, people kept their jobs, but they couldn't go anywhere. They were maybe working at home, so they added services, and others maybe lost their jobs and they had to tighten the budget. So those are kind of similar reasons. And then down here we have other similar reasons that are kind of grouped together, I think. We ran out of things to watch on that service. I subscribed to watch a specific show, and I finished watching it. We decided to switch to another service instead, and the service lost access to certain shows, movies, or channels. So this shows you the importance for these SVOD operators, the streaming operators, to have content that people want to watch and to continually bring new content. So, for example, if you've been watching, you binge watch a series, you start watching it, maybe there's 4 or 5 seasons of it, you start watching it, and then in a month or two, you've gone through all the seasons, because you can watch them whenever you want, could be even less. Then it's like, well, maybe I don't need that anymore. And maybe you switch to another one and you binge watch some stuff on there, and then you can go back to the other streaming service when they have new episodes of that show that you liked. So there's a lot more flexibility. People can move around. And I think some of this churn is people moving from one service to another, and then maybe they'll cancel that one and go back to the other one, or they'll try something else. They maybe go from Netflix to Amazon. Maybe they'll try Disney Plus. So you're seeing a lot of that. Service lost access to certain shows and movie channels. You'll see that happen. People like a particular thing, and then suddenly it's gone. How often do consumers evaluate and adjust entertainment spending? It says here 17% of respondents admitted to evaluating adjusting their entertainment spending monthly. Just over 50% do so at least twice a year. So again, this is something that people did not do or do not do when they have an annual pay TV service. But with something like this where you can switch at will, then it's very easy to do. On average, consumers spend $142.20 per month on internet and video. So if you combine your broadband service and your video, a lot of times that, at that price level, a lot of times that is internet and your traditional pay TV together. But it could be broadband internet, maybe a high-speed package and several streaming packages together. If you've got a larger family, you've got a lot of people streaming, lots of shows, then you could need that, especially as you get into HD and Ultra HD. You can see here 55% of survey respondents are already at their spending limit. 31% of survey respondents said they can afford to pay more than $10 per month for additional streaming services, so some have that disposable income. And top consumer, oh here we go, pay TV bundle includes internet service at about $112.10. Then here you've got your SVOD subscriptions. This, I'm assuming, yeah, this does not include broadband. So you've got how much people are spending on their streaming subscriptions. Again, SVOD tending to be Netflix, Amazon, that kind of thing. Disney Plus. $32.70, $28.10, $31.80. And those could be, these could be, actually, sorry, this is pay TV subscribers, broadband only subscribers, and overall average. So about $31.80 average on what they're spending on their SVOD subscriptions. And what was I going to say? I had a little thought there. Can't remember. Top consumer pain points. It's hard to find a good TV and movies to watch. That's a problem for people. Figuring out which service has everything I want to watch. And that's, again, one of the reasons that people sometimes stop getting these things, because they have these pain points of actually what they call discovery, finding things that they want to watch. Spending too much for video entertainment, another price issue right there. What I was going to say about this is if you look at these numbers, $32.70, $28.10, $31.80, let's say overall average, that could be, that could, depending on which services these are, that could be 3, 4, 5 SVOD subscriptions. So again, they say they have people average 8, but that's including free and not necessarily what people are paying for. So I think on the average, people are paying for 4 or so, 4 to 5 additional subscriptions or streaming subscriptions. Most viewers still considered channel surfers. So I've been saying this a lot in that there's still a market for linear TV. Okay, pay TV, traditional pay TV is, people are cutting the cord, but there's still this market. There's still people that are holding on to their pay TV, and there are people that are switching to a MVMPT, can never get that right, which is a multi-channel video distributor, virtual multi-channel video distributor versus your traditional. And so people are still channel surfers. I'm a channel surfer. They like to just veg out and sit in front of the TV and see what's on. And we're creatures of habit, right? So the same reason that a lot of us sometimes will go to the same restaurant and eat the same thing rather than trying some new restaurant and some different entree, it's because it's comfortable for us. So it's comfortable, I think, to sit in front of the TV, see what's on, and then click on that one thing that you want to watch that you've seen maybe 15, 20, or 100 times and just kind of watch parts of it that you like. So people still surf. Clicking or scrolling through channels, apps, or guides or videos to see what looks interesting at the moment. So this would apply a lot of times to your live TV options. Again, we're linear TV and you've got the guide and you're scrolling up and down. They call complementary viewers multitaskers, and these are not by any means exclusive. So you can have channel surfers that are multitaskers. Those are people watching videos while doing other activities or using content as background noise. I would plead guilty to that. Precision viewers, having a particular video in mind beforehand, and then they search for it, navigate to watch it, that exact video without browsing other options. I think we all probably, or a lot of us do that. So these are not mutually exclusive. Maybe these are applying to people who do this one way more than another. Recommendation viewers, watching the content recommended by their subscription streaming service. Again, I will do that. If I see an email from Netflix that says, hey, here's a new movie we've added that you think you like, I'll look at it and go, oh yeah, I'll put that on my like list and I'll eventually watch it. Pure DVR viewers primarily watch shows or movies they recorded. Now this is primarily, so maybe these folks do this more often, and I call these time shifters. These are people that A lot of times it is live TV. It's a DVR, obviously, so it's something that's happening live, but they don't watch it live, maybe because one reason they don't want to watch commercials, and you can fast through the commercials. That's always nice. And then also that you want to shift it to a time when it's more convenient. So you record what you want, you watch it when you have the time or when you want to watch it. Pay TV viewers averaging 4+ hours of video per day. That's over 60% of those who use pay TV service watch more than 3 hours per day. So average 4+ hours, I can see that. And back to the previous slide where we've got complementary viewers. People that have got like background noise, they are probably counted in here. If you turn on the TV in the morning and you've got the Today Show on or Good Morning America, something while you're getting ready for work, and then later on you've got the TV on and we'll see here about multitasking and smartphones. A lot of times you just have it on for background noise. So that could be part of that as well. Local content, an absolute must for pay TV subscribers. So this is one of the reasons that people hold on to their pay TV service, because that is the easiest, most convenient, and sometimes maybe the only way to get local content. Your local news, I talked about this a week or two ago. When you want to get your local news, there's a hurricane or something like that, like we have today, Ida's moving up through the southeast, or you've got other kinds of things locally that you want to keep track of, or you've got shows that you're interested in watching that are only on a local channel like Jeopardy, then that can be an issue. And that, when I was bringing this up, I think it was last week, it was because Dish Network was going to be losing access. They may lose access to lots of local channels because of some retrans agreements that they're negotiating right now. So this is very important. This is one reason people are holding on to their traditional pay TV, unless they have an antenna, is so that they can easily get those local channels. A solid majority, 86% of pay TV subscribers said they consider viewing local content important. That's a slight increase since Q4 2020. Maybe that has to do with COVID and what's going on locally with that. By contrast, only 65% of broadband-only customers consider viewing local content important, which you could see that. And that may be one reason they cut the cord. So they've already cut the cord because maybe local content was not that important to them. Or maybe they never had it. They could be what's considered a cord neverer, somebody that's never had cable TV, like college students or others that were never connected to pay TV and they just get by without the local content. Which screen to watch? TVs were the overwhelming favorite across the board, with smartphones being the favorite second choice. I could see that. Those are the two things that people use most. A lot of us are used to sitting in front of the big screen TV, and frankly, you're never going to convince me that anything other than a big screen TV, as far as watching certain types of video, is okay. I don't want to watch a movie on my phone. I mean, I will if I have to, but I don't want to watch it if I have the choice of a TV. This does not surprise me at all. Smart TV ownership increasing, and that's just because they're more prevalent, more people buying TVs. 71% of survey respondents own a smart TV, 11% higher than Q4 2020. 29% of respondents indicated that they purchased a smart TV in the last 6 months. Some of this is also, I think, pandemic related. The TVs price, TVs, again, with people being home and wanting to watch video, they maybe wanted to upgrade some things, their video experience. So we saw some of that. Again, more TVs have smart TV features. We actually have two smart TVs, one that we bought years ago that we didn't use the smart TV features because they're kind of clunky and slow. We bought a new one. We were one of these people that bought one early this year, right before the Super Bowl. I think a lot of people do that as well. So it's a smart TV, and I've used this one a little bit more. I still use my Chromecast mostly when I'm streaming, but I will use the smart TV at times because with that, I believe that I'm getting the Ultra HD that this TV supports, which I don't get with my DirecTV connection. And I don't get on my Chromecast because it's not a Chromecast that supports HD. So I will at times use that smart TV for that. But I still find the Chromecast is easier just to pull up the app, punch in what I want to watch, and do it that way. It says TV viewers are increasingly distracted, multitasking on other devices even as they watch long-form content. 60% of respondents say they use a smartphone while watching their TV. 30% use their tablet while watching TV. Well, guilty again as far as the smartphone. A lot of times I'm watching TV, and lately I've been doing Sudoku puzzles while I'm watching TV. As long as it's something that I don't have to concentrate on too much, I can do that. So a lot of people here, you see 60% use a smartphone, And then not as many people on a tablet, just not as many people use tablets. Laptop, desktop computer, a little higher than tablet, and 32% say they are totally focused when they're watching TV, don't use anything. 60% of respondents use mobile devices to watch video when away from home. Not surprising, because you're away from home. That's a very easy device. You have it right there in your hand. That's when I might watch a movie on my phone, is if I've got a couple of hours to kill somewhere, and that's my only way to do it. Consumers tend to watch videos on their smartphones as a way to kill time or fill space in nearly every spare moment of their lives. Guilty again. I think, just like everybody, it seems at times that we have nothing better to do, so we pick up our phone. It's very easy to look at your phone and do that. When you watch video on smartphone, tablet, what percentage of the time do you watch the following type of video? Short form videos under 10 minutes long, 57%, and then I guess that's on a tablet is green and smartphone is blue, or long form videos. So pretty close there, but I'm surprised that long form videos is so high, because I think it's easy to watch a short YouTube video, but who wants to sit in front of their smartphone that's like this big and watch a movie? Brand loyalty aside, media players remain popular. Nearly half of streaming media players users plan to upgrade or switch streamers next year. I probably will, again, because my Chromecast does not support Ultra HD, so I'll probably get one for the TV that we have that has that. Discovery time may be a pain point even among the most popular streaming media players. The average time it takes consumers to find a TV show or movie to watch is noticeably higher than for those looking for content on their pay TV set-top box or smartphone. So yeah, I could see that being the case. It's easy to find stuff on a guide. It's easy if you're on your smartphone if you're looking at a particular app. But if you've got multiple services like HBO Max and Netflix and Disney Plus, and then you're trying to see what's on what, I don't think that's very easy. So I still think, again, there's still a market for linear TV and people having a guide. So I think that's going to be the case for a while. Theater is slated for a comeback, but moviegoers need incentives. It says here, when we conducted our last survey in Q4 2020, many respondents indicated they were less likely to participate in crowded public activities even after the pandemic was over. Now, despite the pandemic's ongoing volatility, consumers seem more eager to return to crowded pre-pandemic activities. 31% of respondents said they're likely to see movies in a theater post-pandemic more often than before the pandemic started. That's interesting, more often than the pandemic started. 29% are more likely to go in an indoor shopping mall, eat at a restaurant indoors, or go to a concert or theater performance. So I think people are over it. Basically, being quarantined and stuck in your house, I think people realize how much they enjoy being out. And even though we don't always like crowds, there's just something about that social aspect of crowds, if they're not too terrible. So I think this doesn't surprise me too much. I am surprised. I thought people would take a little longer to get back to this, but it sounds like people are ready to get back out. And I know if you've been out, you see that. Traffic's been up. I see people, stores are crowded, so people are back out. Consumers watching free content remain the most tolerant of commercials. Well, yeah, you're not paying for it. So free ad-supported video services are increasingly seen as solid alternatives, allowing them to access content without adding to their total entertainment bill. So this is the idea of subscription fatigue that we saw, people cutting the cord from cable and then having, signing up with Netflix, and then a new streaming service came out and they signed up with that, and then another service came out and they signed up with that, and another one came out and they signed up with that. And a lot of times it's, as I said, it's related to the content. So you want to watch that program that everybody's talking about. So it's like, oh, now I need to get Disney Plus, or now I need to get Discovery Plus. Oh, HBO Max the new movie is out in the theaters and they're showing it on HBO Max. I'd rather watch it streaming. So that kind of forces people. So what the free stuff gives, it gives people a chance to round out, get additional content without having to raise their bill. 81% said they'd rather use free ad-supported streaming than subscribe to another paid service. They've probably got several already, I would think. 83% wish that paid streaming services like Netflix or Prime Video offered a free ad-supported option. So, and more streaming services are doing this. I think Peacock does this, and we might see others do this, where you have to watch some ads. Maybe you pay less, so instead of paying $10 a month, you may pay $5 a month, and you got to watch some ads. Discovery Plus is that way. You can get the ad-supported, and then you can get no ads. I think it's $5 and $10, because we went ahead and got that. Actually, it was a free Valentine's Day deal that I got for my wife, and the deal included no ads, and she let me know, and wow, that's really nice not having ads. So a lot of people say they go ahead and they'd like the ad supported, but once they get in there, they might realize, oh, this is kind of a pain. Especially if you're used to having a DVR where you can time shift, like I was saying, then zip through the ads, because on these streaming services, you can't zip through them. You just kind of got to wait and watch them. So when asked their preferred type of AVOD experience, 39% of survey respondents reported wanting a free service that offers live TV channels and a guide. 47% prefer a free service that offers an on-demand library of TV shows and movies. And some of the streaming services we're seeing are starting to combine those two things. Some of them will have the linear TV kind of experience, but also have some on-demand stuff, which you see that obviously in your regular pay TV service, where you would have your guide and then you can do some stuff on demand. So that's not unusual. But what I find interesting is, and I've said this, is 39% still report wanting a free service that offers live TV channels and a guide. And I think people just like TV channels and a guide. Most popular AVOD services other than YouTube, Facebook Watch. I don't consider Facebook videos AVOD. Yeah, it's free and it's video, but it's not like Tubi TV, for example, or Peacock or Roku, any of those, or even Crackle. The way I watch Facebook videos is I'll just look on my feed. If something looks interesting, I'll click on it, I'll watch it, and then Facebook will throw some other stuff up there, and then I'll maybe watch that. And if it's longer video and something interesting, then sometimes I'll even stream it to the TV. But I don't consider that's not like a go-to video for me. It's more of a, I'm here, there's a video, I'll check it out. YouTube's kind of that way for me. Actually, YouTube, the way I consume YouTube is more I'm looking for something. A lot of times it's a how-to video or something political or newsy that I'll look for something on YouTube, because it's easier to consume a video sometimes than it is to read a big long story. So that's my go-to for that. Again, I don't see YouTube so much as advertising supported video like I do these others. AVOD genres by viewing type. You can see here comedies, top, action, adventure. My go-to tends to be science fiction when I'm looking at these. And this is AVOD when I'm looking at Netflix or whatever streaming services or whatever I'm watching. I really like science fiction. So, video paradox. Despite varied pain points, consumers keep feeding their video habit. Many complain that it's increasingly difficult to discover said content, and their budgets are increasingly stretched thin, as I've talked about. Yet the average number of services per consumer continues to rise. Again, there's that push of content that's making people to subscribe to more stuff. And when you have more choices, then it's harder to find things. You've got multiple apps. So yeah, that's a pain point for folks. And as consumers are presented with a widening array of options, their standards are getting higher. They're increasingly willing to cancel or add services at the drop of a hat if a better option presents itself. Like I said, there's no long-term commitment. It's easy to switch back and forth, to cancel, for a couple of months and then come back. Maybe you get a deal when you do it. Content overload drives demand for innovation. Consumer demand for consolidated content management is high and rising. So this is an important point for cable operators, and because cable operators kind of control or can control the video experience. So unless you're going to have several of these video streaming services merged together and create one big thing, a great place for a cable operator to be is somebody that aggregates all this stuff. So having a linear pay TV option, where you've got the guide with all the channels, and then having an option where people, through your guide or through your set-top box, however you're doing that, can sign up for other kinds of services. And it might be as simple as providing, an IPTV service and then allowing a Hulu device, streaming device, to be what's used to get your service. And then people can go to Hulu and they can get your service and they can get other things, all from the same place. But people really do, and they do like this, which is why Xfinity and Charter and others, in addition to having their traditional pay TV now, are partnering with all of these streaming services like Netflix and HBO Max and others, and saying, you can get your traditional pay TV from us, and here's these other streaming services, just click here and you can watch that from our service as well. And people like paying for those things together as well, in addition. So you can see here top consumer points. It's hard to find good TV and movies to watch. Figuring out which service has everything I want to watch are two of the top items right there. While 88% of survey respondents noted an interest in having the ability to view, browse, and search all their available content, everything they can watch from any of their current video services from a single guide or menu, 35% were extremely interested in that, a 2% increase from Q4 2020. And then here, this is important, like I just said. Similarly, 86% are interested in the ability to pay for all their video services from a single guide or interface, rather than navigating websites or apps to pay separate bills, with 33% extremely interested in doing so. So again, for a pay TV provider, bundling and aggregating these different video sources looks like an opportunity for you. Discovery trends are slowly shifting. Importance of EPG, electronic programming guides, rises while others fall. So the others being commercials played during TV shows, word-of-mouth recommendations, social media advertising, they still account for the majority of content discovery, but they've diminished in impact every year. So people, again, are turning more towards guides or whatever is coming up in the app showing you what you can watch, especially on a linear pay TV service where, again, you can pull up the guide and see what's on now. So you can see these traditional, I wouldn't call them traditional, but these social media, word of mouth, that kind of thing have dropped, and then what's gone up is these other suggestions in my TV guide, TV channel guide, or other menus, advertising on streaming or online video services, those kinds of things have gone up. VMVPDs get top marks in discovery, and again, this is because they have a guide. So this would be like a YouTube TV, a Hulu TV, or even in a similar way, an IPTV provider or pay TV provider, just a MVPD, are going to get top marks in discovery. They don't include pay TV here, but or IPTV, but those would be similar because they've got guides, and you can see the chart here. Recommendations drive engagement 40% of the time, pretty much across the board here. So people say how relevant they are, and that's going to vary a little bit. It looks like SVOD has the highest as far as relevance goes. But generally, these apps are pretty smart. So they watch what you watch. They know you pretty well. They see what you're interested in, and they'll present options that seem to be something that you'd be interested in. And sometimes you're surprised and you look at it and you go, why in the world do they think I would want to watch that? So it's not always exactly 100% accurate, but they're pretty good. Consumer awareness and confidence in voice technology has grown, and they're talking about voice technology. They're talking about talking to maybe your remote, for example, and searching for something. Frankly, I rarely do that. We're kind of Google Home here, so we've got Google cameras, we've got the Google Home little device that you can look at with the screen. We've got the little Google hockey pucks that you can talk to. So that's nice. And what I use that for generally, if I'm streaming something, is for pausing, rewinding. I'll say rewind 30 seconds and resume, that kind of thing. I find that very convenient when you're streaming, because instead of like pulling up your phone and then having to try to figure out what you're doing there on the little bar that you can hardly see, that is much easier. But as far as searching for something, I just find the app easier to search for something. So it says trust in virtual assistants rises across the board. So that would be your devices like Google and Alexa and whatnot. So 59% of survey respondents indicated they use some form of virtual assistants like an Alexa, Siri, Google Assistant, Cortana, etc. And people are starting to trust those more. So even though they listen to you, unless you're doing something really weird in your house, hopefully you don't mind that they're listening to you. Opportunity knocks. Some respondents still think voice search is a gimmick. As I said, I don't do that much searching. 12% said it's faster to simply type into a search box. Depends on the search box. If you've got one of those where you've got to use your little arrows and tab over to the Z over on this end and then back to the A over here, that's no fun. But if you can somehow type into a little keyboard or something like that, it's probably going to be maybe easier. It's certainly, anyway, it's more familiar to us. So yeah, I don't use the voice search much. So in short, adaptability equals survival. So this is important. I think pay TV providers have realized if you can't beat them, you got to join them. And like I say, they've already started to bundle some of these over-the-top services as part of their service. So rather than lose a customer completely on pay TV, they will try to keep them by maintaining the value that they have in their pay TV and adding additional streaming services and putting everything on one bill, making it easy for people. It says here, for content creators, device manufacturers, and service providers to thrive, they must improve their products, optimize metadata to deliver more personalized video experiences, and aim for peak innovation. In short, you've got to adapt. If they don't, then they're not going to be around for long. So we've seen cord cutting rise, but we've also seen people kind of returning to this idea of, you know what, I liked having the guide, and you know what, it's not as inexpensive as it used to be. Now that I've cut the cord and these other prices have gone up and I've had to subscribe to these 5 new services, the prices have gone up. So there's still an opportunity, I think, for pay TV providers. Thanks for joining me. I hope this was of interest to you. And if you're not aware of this, we do have an IPTV service of our own. So if you are a broadband operator and you're not currently offering a pay TV service, or if you are and you want to get off the old expensive system where you've got all of this equipment, you got to provide set-top boxes and everything, we have a IPTV service that pretty much includes everything. It includes the local programming, includes your national programming, several different tiers of programming. It works on a streaming box like a Hulu, or excuse me, a Roku box. So look us up for that. Just go to info@sequorum.com or check out our website if you're interested in that. Again, thanks for joining me. Go ahead and give me a thumbs up if you like this. Subscribe to our channel. Click the bell, and you'll be notified anytime I'm live. And I'll be live next Tuesday. I'll see you then. Bye-bye.